Picture this. Nena is sitting there watching her classmates freak out about future jobs, while she's literally calculating the profit margin of the fishball vendor outside the school gates. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're breaking down an absolutely fascinating story today. It's all about 6 specific mindsets for student success, told through the journey of a remarkably resourceful young woman. I ask about the profit margin of fishballs outside the gate. That's a direct quote from her, by the way. Okay, so let's set the stage here. Nena is not your typical wealthy student with a massive safety net. Far from it. She's from the province, she wears a secondhand school uniform, and her daily commute actually costs more than her lunch money. But she has this one massive, game-changing advantage. In the Philippines, they call it discarte. It's this powerful blend of pure resourcefulness, street smarts, and strategy. You see, the source material really drives home this idea that success fundamentally starts with how you think. Nena figured out super early on that, yeah, okay, she lacked financial capital, but she absolutely did not lack the right mindset. So let's dive into the 6 specific mindset shifts that literally transformed her from a regular struggling student into a savvy young entrepreneur. Mindset number 1, the beginning of resourcefulness. So our first major shift actually starts with a moment of serious self-doubt. Nena is just sitting in her living room staring down at a flyer for a school business fair, and her immediate internal monologue, honestly, it's probably exactly what you or I would think when facing something totally new. She's thinking, I can't do this. I don't have any money. I literally don't know the first thing about business. It's that classic paralyzing fear response holding her back. But then she gets this piece of advice that completely rewires her brain. Someone tells her, your ability isn't the problem. Your problem is whether you believe in yourself. Wow, right? Simple, but absolutely profound. She realized that doing nothing guarantees failure 100% of the time. So she took a deep breath and boldly signed up for the fair. She locked in her first core mindset. I can, I will, I must. She took action, even though she was completely terrified. That brings us to mindset 2, fear versus success. Fast forward to the actual day of the business fair. Nena sets up this tiny little table to sell her mom's homemade atsara, which, if you don't know, is this incredibly delicious traditional pickled papaya. She's selling it for just 20 pesos a pack. But as she's standing there waiting for those first customers, she gets hit by this intense wave of nervousness, just totally bombarded by negative what-ifs. What if nobody buys anything? What if everyone just laughs at me? But here is where the discarte kicks in. Nena realizes these thoughts are just dragging her down, so she intentionally flips the script. Actually, scratch that, she completely reversed it. Instead of dwelling on the bad, she forced herself to ask, wait, what if a lot of people buy? What if they absolutely love it? She completely shifted her perspective from anticipating a total flop to anticipating a massive success. So what actually happened when she changed her focus? While her positive what-if became a literal reality. Within just 3 hours, Nena sold out completely. Boom, all 30 packs gone. She earned 600 pesos. Now I know, to a wealthy student, 600 pesos might just be pocket change. But to Nena, this was the largest amount of money she had ever held that she actually made entirely on her own. It was this massive, undeniable small win that proved her positive mindset wasn't just some delusion, it was highly practical and, better yet, profitable. Moving on to mindset 3, solutions, not problems. A few weeks after the fair, Nena notices a brand new problem at school. Break time rolls around and the canteen is just a nightmare. It's crowded, sweltering hot, total chaos. Her classmates are complaining nonstop, right? They're either too lazy or too bothered by the heat to actually go line up for their snacks. Now look, most people just whine about these daily annoyances and leave it at that. But Nena looks at this complaining crowd and she sees a gold mine. This is perfectly summarized by her third mindset. To every problem, there's always a solution. Instead of just joining the chorus of complaints, she took immediate action. She set up a class group chat and literally offered to be the official canteen runner. Her classmates would just message her their orders, she'd front the cash, brave those awful lines, deliver the food right to their desks, and charge a tiny service fee of 5 pesos per order. And get this beautifully simple solution generated between 50 to 80 pesos of pure profit for Nena every single day during break time. And here's the real kicker. Doing this required absolutely zero capital, nothing. She just used her feet, her head, and her willingness to solve a problem that literally everyone else was just complaining about. If you ask me, that is the very essence of being resourceful.
Which leads into mindset 4. You are your own opponent.
Now, we all know the journey to success isn't just a straight line pointing up. Nena actually confesses that there were days she felt this intense, heavy envy. She'd look around the classroom and see a classmate whose parents completely funded their glossy online shop, or another kid who had a brand new laptop and a ring light for content creation. And meanwhile, there's Nena, sitting there tracking her daily sales in a battered old notebook with a borrowed pen. It is so incredibly tempting to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to others. But Nena had this harsh but necessary realization. Comparing yourself to other people usually only leads to two outcomes: arrogant pride if you think you're doing better, or deep, deep sadness if you feel you're doing worse. Neither of those is going to help you grow. She realized the only shift that actually matters is this: the only person you ever need to beat is the version of yourself from yesterday. To put that into perspective, when Nena looked back at her own worn-out notebook, she saw her day one entry: 0 savings, nothing. Then she looked at her goal from last month: save 200 pesos. Then she flipped to the current month, and she had actually reached 850 pesos in savings. By comparing herself strictly to her past self, she realized, hey, I'm actually accelerating incredibly fast here. It propelled her forward so much faster and honestly, so much healthier than envy ever could. Okay, mindset number 5. And honestly, this one is perhaps the most difficult for high achievers to master. One day, Nena makes a major mistake. A customer ordered 15 bottles of Asara, but she miscounted and only delivered 10. The customer was, understandably, pretty angry and literally never came back. Nena was totally crushed. She beat herself up for days over this one error. But you know what? She soon realized that berating yourself doesn't generate sales. It just doesn't. So she used her journal to process the whole thing in 3 really simple steps. Step 1, acknowledge the mistake. Step 2, extract the lesson, which in this case was to always double-check inventory. And step 3, the most important one: move on. You absolutely have to forgive yourself so you can actually take the next step. Because if you're trapped obsessing over your past mistakes, you just cannot build your future. Let's look at mindset 6. The most important investment is you. As her little ventures started to grow, Nena figured out what the absolute greatest investment in the world actually is. And surprise, surprise, it isn't the stock market, and it isn't even business capital or physical products. The greatest investment you can make is in your own brain and your own skills. Nena started skipping out on Netflix binges and scrolling past social media drama. Instead, she poured her free time into reading free business ebooks right on her phone. She watched YouTube videos on marketing. She even taught herself basic graphic design using Canva so she could make her own promotional posters. She studied costing. She leveled up her customer service. And because she consistently made herself more valuable every single day, her little side hustle naturally scaled into a thriving online operation. She didn't sit around waiting for luck to strike. She actively built her own capability. Finally, the conclusion. As we transition to the wrap-up of this explainer, let's just take a step back and look at the big picture of Nena's story. Remember, she started without a business degree, no wealthy parents, no fancy equipment, and absolutely zero initial capital. She relied entirely on her own cultivated resourcefulness and her sheer willingness to change her perspective. So here is the complete framework that transformed her thinking, a framework that can absolutely transform yours too. Let's do a rapid-fire recap of everything we just covered. Number 1, say I can, I will, I must to push past that initial self-doubt. 2, ask, what if I succeed, instead of dwelling on failure. 3, think of solutions, not problems, when facing daily hurdles. 4, only compare yourself to your past self. 5, quickly forgive your mistakes so you can keep moving forward. And 6, relentlessly invest in your own skills. That right there is the exact mental toolkit for building success from absolute scratch. What this entire story proves is that it really doesn't take a massive financial investment to get started in life or in business. It just takes the right mindset. So I want to leave you with this final provocative question inspired by Nena's journey. Are you resourceful? Do you have the drive to turn your current obstacles into your next big opportunity? Take these lessons, study these mindsets, and honestly, apply them directly to your own life today. Let me know in the comments below which of these 6 mindsets you feel you need to work on the most right now. And hey, make sure to comment what story we should cover in our next explainer. Thank you so much for joining me today. Stay focused, and as always, keep learning.